It's on.
YouTube, how's it going? 25th, 27th? 27th of March, 2013. A little over a month before Amber and I will be leaving to drive down to Florida for the extravaganza. Looking forward to it. It's going to be our first holiday in 27 years where we're actually taking a couple of weeks for ourselves. We've had a few days here and there, and when we've had kids with us, or we've combined it with a business trip, things like that. But this is the first time that's just us time. Lots of snow. Normally the fields are showing by now. This time last year we were in the mid-20s for temperature. Not today, although it is milder. The flood forecast is we're going to have flooding like 2009 or 2009 levels, which were fairly big. 2011 was a worse year, and 1997 was the worst year that we've ever had. So this is ranking up there, going to rank up there fairly high. We're more susceptible to overland flooding where we are than flooding from the rivers going over their banks. Although the Seine River, which flows through our town, does tend to go over its banks, we're on the north side of the main road. The river's on the south side, so we're a little bit higher. So we should be okay. In 97, it was bad enough that we were even lifting things up in our basement, putting them up on paint cans just to get a few extra inches in case the sewer just backed up a little bit, or if there was a little bit of overland flowing into the house. And our town was surrounded by water because all the farmers' fields are lower than the town, so all the fields around us were flooded, and the river on the south side was flooded. So driving this 10-kilometer stretch from town to the #1 highway was like driving on a causeway. The water was up to the edges of the road on both sides, and it was water as far as you could see. It was when you look at what nature can do, it's really surprising. Just how powerful something as simple as water is. During the 97 flood, I was still working in the garage, and we would work our shift, many of us in the garage anyway, and then we would volunteer and fill sandbags out in the yard where the garage was. They needed people that could run the backhoe to bring piles of sand over to the people filling sandbags, and they needed people to tie them and to stack them and get them ready onto pallets to be taken. I went out sandbagging a couple of times during the day on company time. There's quite a bit of stuff going on. So if you've never experienced a natural disaster like a flood or a hurricane or tornado or something, you don't really want to experience that. But to experience the human aspects of helping is really quite interesting. You know, it's amazing. Perfect strangers helping. You help your neighbors, you help your neighbors' neighbors and their neighbors. And you could be working all over the place, and you just go and you work wherever you're needed, whether it be sandbagging or hauling stuff, donating food, donating fuel for generators and for water pumps. One of the days, I was having trouble with my back, and I couldn't really do much in way of lifting. So what I did was I had a 1994 Suburban, and where people were going to sandbag, they had to go by boat, and where they were picked up and dropped off was on a highway about 2 miles south of Winnipeg. And there were so many people that volunteered that they were parking along the road, both sides, to as far as the perimeter highway. So some of those people, after sandbagging 10, 12, or 14 hours, got off the boat and still had to walk 1.5 miles to their cars. So I went there to see what I could do, because I had heard about that. On the radio, they were saying that people had to walk, you know, after all that. So I went there with my Suburban. I was there for several hours, as well as another guy that had an SUV, and I just ran a free taxi service, so to speak. People coming off the boats, and just, you know, hop in the truck, I'll drive you up to your vehicle. And they were all, you know, many of the people were just covered in mud, but, you know, I had a vinyl interior in the Suburban, and you know what, even if it was cloth, it cleans. These people volunteered trying to save someone's home, someone's life or livelihood. So what's the cost of, you know, even if you did do damage to your interior of your vehicle, so what? So it was quite an experience. I got to meet a lot of people. Including a couple of people that drove or that flew from, I think they were from Louisiana, the southern states anyway, Louisiana, Texas, somewhere around there, and they had heard about the flooding, and they just decided to come up here just to help. They came up with spent their own money to fly here, and then just when they got here, they just found out where they could go and help, and they were out sandbagging. And it must have been Louisiana, if I recall, because they were saying that it was like paying it back, because over the years Canadians have gone on to help in the States when there's been natural disasters, much like the Americans will help as well. You know, you go where it's needed, and it was quite an experience. Now I hope we don't get that again, and we'll likely be on the road when the flooding is happening as we're going. So, in in a day or two, I'm going to publish our route, and in about a month, I'll be posting some video of flood footage as we drive farther and farther south towards Florida. Anyway, I'm going to let you go, just kind of babbling on about flooding and spring thaws and everything. And I'm just going to let you go. So take it easy. Have a good one. Keep your feet dry.